Good morning. Good morning, and good morning, sunshines. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, universe. Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody is having a blessed day already. Good morning, learning. Thank you for being here. Good morning, sunshine. Today is Wednesday, hump day. It's our shorter day. Well, my shorter day of being with you guys so early in the morning. And I don't know if I'm sad a little bit. I think I'm a little sad. It's supposed to rain this afternoon. And usually I go ride my bike in the afternoon. And I'm like, girl, so does that mean I gotta go early? I don't like going early because I like to ride when it's like hot. I don't like riding when it's cool outside. So I'm either gonna have to go early or I'm gonna have to work out inside the house today. And in the summertime, I just like to get all of the outdoors in that I can because we have more winter cold season than anything here. I need to move to the south for real. I'm not built for cold and winter at all. Okay, anyway, today is Wednesday, part of our or what we're doing or what I'm doing this summer on my channel is just being mindful about every aspect of life. So today we are back in our 5-minute mindfulness walking book, but we already know that walking, the walking part of this it's applicable to every single area of life. So if I say walking, it also means everything. It can be exercising, it can be eating, it can be friendships, relationships, marriages. It can be all of the things, workationships, all of those things. So all of this mindfulness is about life. So we are on essay 5, the medicine of walking. Before riding on animals and machines, humans walked. But in a mechanized digital world, we're alienated from this fundamental process. The distracted by infinite options and devices, a poisonous luxury, being sedentary, overdosed in choices. To mark this message urgent and confidential, press 5. We walk to find ourselves again in a new way. Walking connects us to ourselves as mammals and to simplicity, free from a sense of self that exists only in our mind. When animals suffer pain or trauma, they heal mostly through movements, which allow them to integrate the experience and re engage with living. The key thing is they move, and so must we. Movement helps process stress through the body, whether it's the stress of being busy, a social slight that pierces the ego's self esteem, or a serious trauma. When hurt, we may freeze and go numb and paralyzed. We cannot stay frozen for long. To thrive, we must move, not to get anywhere, but for the medicine of movement itself. Who walks with me? When walking, the obstacle that trips us up the most is ourselves. Buddhist teacher Jack Cornfield tells of a cartoon in a magazine that illustrated the challenge of the self. It shows a single car on a desert road. At the road sign, a sign reads, "The next 200 miles, your own tedious thoughts." The mind's default setting is thinking overwhelmingly about ourselves, our lives, our self image, and our concerns. This makes me think about listen, when I ride my bike outside, this summer I have only listened to one soundtrack and I listened to it over and over. It's Kendrick Lamar, y'all. I am so stuck on his new um work of art that I listen to it over and over. So he has a song, Count Me Out. And in his song, Count Me Out, there's a part where I don't know the lyrics exactly. I know it when the music is playing, child, but I don't know it exactly. But he's speaking about how he wakes up, he looks through his phone and he swipes 4 times, and the whoever he's talking to is trying to count him out, and he realizes he looks in the mirror and it's his self. Your own self can think that you aren't capable of being your best self. Conquering your mind mindfulness is sometimes more difficult than conquering external things. And that's why sometimes so many people focus on other people and their faults because they don't want to focus on themselves and what they need to do to become the best version of themselves. They'd rather stay stuck because it's easier, it's painful. Moving can hurt. I have a really bad right knee. I've been dancing my whole life, and my right knee, and I had to have surgery on my right foot because I had real bad arthritis maybe a decade ago. And it it takes a little bit for me to get moving because of these aches and these pains. And as you get older, the aches and the pains become more and more. And you can't count yourself out because you have to move through that moment and that pain. Because once you start moving, it does get better, right? But it's easier sometimes to just stay sedentary, to continue to watch TV. I want to finish watching my favorite content creator on YouTube, knowing you need to move and turn it off. And one of the things that I like to hear a lot is I hear Beautiful Shalom say it a lot: die to the noise. And sometimes the noise is you. You are your worst enemy a lot of times. All right, back in the book. Mindful walking gives us perspective. Through the practice, we slowly see these self thoughts for what they are: a habit of the mind, less of a problem if we observe them mindfully. We don't have to take all thoughts seriously, and we can see them with amusement and curiosity. And another thing I'm learning at my big age, I started learning it when I was younger. In my 20s, I had a good friend hurt my feelings really bad because I used to have a thing about saying everything that came across my mind. If I thought it, everybody needed to hear it. She was like, "Why are you so mean and negative all the time?" And as far as I was concerned, I was just telling people what I saw or what I thought, right? And when she said that to me, it really did hurt my feelings. But it was the best love that anybody had ever given me because nobody had ever hurt my feelings like that and made me think about what I was saying and how I made other people feel, right? And so since then, I've been always, and I still to this day, because listen, my mother is, I think, I don't know, I'm not going to say all of our mothers. My mother is a quiet mess. My daddy is a loud, say anything you want to say, messy individual human being. Mommy is organized, daddy is the chaos of it all. And when I tell you that old man say whatever, and he's been like this my whole life. And so part of that is who I am, right? Like you can see yourself in your parents, especially when you get older. And he says things now and it doesn't even phase me. And his wife just be like, "Girl, you know how your daddy is." Girl, I know. And my mother is the quiet one, but she even has a sharp tongue. She took a dig at my daughter the other day, and when we got back in the car, I took a dig back at her because, like, but it's familial, right? But with your friends and people who don't know you and love you like that, you really do. You have to be mindful of what you say. And as I get older, I'm learning, even at work, a lot of the things I see, it's just crazy. And if I say it out loud, now I'm blackballed at my job, child. Listen, they don't want me because I say stuff because it just, you know what I'm saying? Like, stop. But we have to be mindful of what we say, how we say. We have to take other people's feelings into considerations, and everything that we think does not have to be said out loud. It just doesn't. And that's hard sometimes because you really do feel like what you want to say is importante, and it's not. Chalet. Learning says you are correct. I have sciatica nerve issues. I stopped exercising because of the pain, but I learned the more I was yep, once you push yourself out of your comfort zone, it really is it helps you. So listen, let me tell you a comfort zone. Oh, child, I got a story. I gotta mark my space in the book. I had a comfort zone movement happen to me yesterday. So I'm preparing for an interview, right? And part of before I even get to the interview, they asked me to do 2, work product documents, and I'm interviewing for an elevation out of my current position, which means I haven't done this type of work yet. I don't have the experience yet. Am I capable of doing the job? Yep. But have I ever done it? No. So it's a lot of parts to this work product that they wanted me to do. And I had to turn it in yesterday. Child, I sat here all day working and working on that work product, and it was so challenging, but I learned so much and I grew out of my comfort zone. So much so that even if I don't get the job, my perspective on this new position that I'm trying to get has totally changed because I had to push myself out of my comfort zone and what I already know and try to learn about something that I don't know. And it's the same thing with moving your body, with opening up books and expanding your mind, and also with humbling yourself and realizing you don't have all of the answers to all of the questions. And it's okay to be quiet and just listen and observe and learn. Pushing yourself out of your comfort zone helps you grow into everything that you can and want to be and to get everything that God has for you. You can't get it though if you stay stuck doing what you've been doing. Learning says, grew up around outspoken people. Child, listen, it takes a lot to offend me too. Like I watch some stuff and it does not offend me, some of the stuff, but I can understand the perspective of some people who do get offended though, right, Learning? And so that's why I learn to be quiet sometimes. Because sometimes, like, I like tough love. I'm from the city of Detroit, child. I got the thickest skin. Listen, we come ready. My tongue is a sore and I know it, and I've been working on it for the last 30 years. Listen, I got lots of words that I have learned to keep inside of my brain and off of my tips of my fingers. I mess up sometimes though, child, because I'm human, but I work on being mindful about my thoughts and my actions and my words. But the thickness of the skin, it's a lot of stuff that people be like, why would you talk like that? Why would you call women this and that and say I'm like, "Girl, like, that's, like, the least of my worries. That doesn't even bother me." Yep, it takes a lot to offend me. But now, I do get offended, and when I get offended, guess what? I don't have to let the person that offended me unless they're, like, really important to me. If they're really important to me, I will let them know. But people who really don't matter to my real life, if they offend me, I don't have to say anything. I can just walk away and not be around them or not tune into them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have choices, especially on YouTube, especially in these spaces. You can just be quiet. You don't have to tell somebody they offended you. Let people do what they want to do because everybody is different and everybody attracts to them the energy that they want to absorb. And some people like toxic energy, right? It might not be toxic to them. It might not offend them. Let people live their best life. You need to stay out of it if it bothers you though. If that energy bothers you, if it makes you feel away, walk away and stop trying to change everybody. We are all different for a reason. All right, back into the book. Buddhists call this the realization of no self, the idea that our self isn't entirely real. It's mostly thoughts in the mind. Once understood, it's an enormous relief. The insecurities, fears, and doubts that emanate from the self have less power. Mindfully walking, we learn to simply be the presence that experiences the walk. We're simply walking, experiencing the joy of being selfless for a little while. I think about that. So, like when I ride my bike, like yesterday, I did my longest ride of the summer. I rode about 3.5 hours, which is about 36 miles. When I'm riding, nothing else matters. My job, my bills, opinions, nothing else matters. I am mindful that I am moving my body. I am enjoying the sights and the sounds of the trees and the birds, the wind blowing through my earphones, the cars passing. I'm mindful of that so that I don't get hit. Like the mind and then I see new things. I take the same route, but I see new things every time. I'm mindful to look up and enjoy the tops of the trees and to see how they sway in the wind. I'm mindful to notice all of the different restaurants in my area, and I'm like, "Oh, I wanna go there. I've never visited there." Like, I got a whole list of places that are close to where I am that I don't go because you don't really pay attention to it when you're driving in a car. But it's easy to see these things if you're walking, riding a bike, just moving, right? Forget yourself, lace your shoes. As you prepare to start a mindful walk, you remember walking is everything. Drop into the observing mind before you even take a step. As you pick up your shoes to put them on, notice the touch of the hands to the shoes and let the noticing mind come to the forefront of your awareness. Allow thinking to recede into the background and meditate as you feel your muscles engaging to hold the shoes, your spine bending as you put them on. Notice your breathing. As you lace the shoes, take in the simplicity of these actions, doing your best not to let the mind race ahead and away from the moment. Imbue the actions of putting on the shoes with an intention to be fully present for these details and for the moments of this day. May say silently, I am fully here, present for what's happening now. I don't want to miss a moment of my life. You like to walk. I like to walk when I'm on vacation learning. When I leave the country or leave town and I go somewhere warm, I like walking. So like, when I'll be in Vegas later this month, Imma get up and walk every day before it gets like 100. I'll get up when it's like 80 or 90 in the morning and walk. But when I'm home, I don't really walk when I'm here. I ride my bike. Like, I got the bike when the pandemic started, and I hadn't ridden a bike probably since I was a kid. And it has become like but listen, Imma tell y'all, I had a tragedy on my bike last summer. This is my 3rd summer riding my bike. Last summer, I used to ride, in, the parking lane, and then they have a safe space on the sidewalk, but it's a few miles away from me, so I used to leave my house and ride to the safe space, and the parking lane seemed to be safe. On my way back one day from my ride, there was a car that didn't pay attention. He opened his door, and when he opened his door, it 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 stopped me from moving forward, and I hit the ground and rolled into the middle of a busy street. And God, literally, there was a stoplight, and all I could see was those cars sitting at that stoplight, and I knew in that moment, like, "Girl, this is not safe." It felt safe, and it had been safe for over a year, but this is not safe if people can open up their car doors and knock you off your bike because you coulda got ran over. And I didn't ride my bike anymore last summer. And this year, my daughter bought me a, bike rack for my birthday. And baby, when I tell you I have used that bike rack, that was one of I had a lot of nice birthday gifts, but that is one of the most used gifts that I have, except money, child, because I spent that. But I have used that bike rack, and I absolutely now I would drive to the safety lanes, and then I go from there. Yep, pray like, literally learning. I saw my entire life flash, and I was like, "Girl, girl." It takes a lot to shake me. That shook me. Like, I'm not a scaredy cat. I'm not afraid of much, and I'm not afraid to die. Like, that's not a thing for me. But, like, to see it happening, like, "Girl, no, 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 no. No, no, this is not how you going out." And I stopped riding my bike last year. Literally, I was shook. All right. Transcending the burden of self. We can walk for exercise and for something far deeper to heal ourself, our regrets and shame, our fear, our worries about the future. We walk to find relief from the endless doubts and opinions we have about our lives. These opinions can become a kind of mental prison, blocking us from trying new things. Through mindful walking, we see that, in fact, we don't have a life. It doesn't exist in the way we thought. My life is a set of ideas, memories, and fantasies about the past, future, and an abstract self. It exists only in the mind. Mindfully walking, we experience being fully alive without the preoccupation of self. Our attention opens outward, first to the step, then the larger pulsation of life, the complexity of human history, and to how remarkable our planet is, floating in vast emptiness, or perhaps just how we can help a friend. How do I like my Peloton? I thought about getting one. I love my listen. I listen on Facebook the other day. I was bragging about how many miles I had rode my bike, but I was like, listen, it's the summer. I know my Peloton misses me, but the streets are calling. The streets keep calling my name. I love my Peloton. My Peloton keeps me together when it's cold. Like today, if I don't get to ride before it starts raining, I will ride my Peloton today. I also have an elliptical and a treadmill. I don't use those as much anymore. I used to use my elliptical a lot. The treadmill, it's an older treadmill, so I really don't like it that much. And I don't know. Even when I have and if I like go to a hotel and they have the treadmills and I get on them, it's something about walking in place that I don't like. Now, riding the bike in place doesn't bother me for some reason. The elliptical is cool. The elliptical doesn't bother my knees. Sometimes the Peloton bike, I can feel my knee, but it's the same way when I ride outside. So it's not just the Peloton. But once I start riding, it's all good. So I absolutely love the Peloton, and the Peloton is nice. It really is. It's costly. It does cost a coin, and then they have this monthly fee in order to use the live portions and the pre-recorded portions of it. But I'm gonna say this about it. If you know you are going to use it, it's worth the investment in yourself. It's just like paying a monthly gym membership, but it takes away the excuses of you having to physically go into a gym because it's right there in your home. It's not really big. It takes up a very little bit of space. And the Peloton app offers a whole lot. Like you can walk with the Peloton app, you can do yoga, you can do treadmills, I do weights. They have strength on the Peloton app. There's so many other things that the app offers. It really is worth the investment, but it is an investment in yourself, and it does cost a coin. It does cost a coin, but I'm gonna tell you this. I financed mine with a firm. A firm is they give you a line of credit, right? And I like this Peloton, I think, has some type of relationship with a firm because if you finance it with a firm, you can get 0%. I'm a queen of getting the lowest APR possible. So if you use a firm to pay for it, you get 0% for, I think, 2 years. So I think my monthly payments are a little under $60, but then I still have the Peloton payment that is about I think it's $40 a month now, $44 a month now. But again, it really is worth it. If you don't use it, it's not worth it. If you are a person that buys equipment and you use your equipment to lay your clothes on or your equipment just gathers dust, it's not worth it. I would not suggest getting it because it costs. But oh, Imma tell you this too, learning. I don't know, I bought mine 2 last November? Not this past November, November of 2020. When I bought mine, they didn't have the Peloton Plus. They just had the Peloton regular bike. The Peloton Plus costs more, but because I think the difference between the regular Peloton that I have and the Peloton Plus is that the TV or the monitor on it swivels. Get the basic, and then there's an attachment you can get off of Amazon, and you can add it to your basic, and it will allow your screen to swivel. So, like, when I get off my bike and I lift my weights, I can turn my monitor so that I can see it, so that I can lift my weights. It's a lot less. It costs less to do it that way. So yeah, I absolutely like it. You got rid of your treadmill. Yeah, I don't the treadmill, it literally bothers me to walk in place. I don't know what it is, but it really does. But I will say this, when I was recovering from surgery and I couldn't work out, like, go hard, and I was still trying to lose weight, walking, I could walk, and it was wintertime too. I could use my treadmill to walk. So it came in handy during that period of time, but I don't really use it a lot. Yeah, Firm is good, but now Firm's APR on regular purchases is trash. If you use a Firm to get just regular stuff, pay it off before that APR kicks in. But a Firm and oh, sorry, y'all, I'm making noises. A Firm and Peloton have a relationship, so it's 0% APR. All right, back into the book. We walk to find truth. Excuse me. We walk to find truth. Our fluctuating sense of self tells us that we're okay one moment, but not the next. Which narrative is right? We can spend a lifetime fending off our own critical thoughts, but it's like racing on a hamster wheel. We can never outrun them. There's ultimately no proving our worthiness, because each success can always be countered by the next failure. We need an entirely different medicine. Buddhist teacher Shunryu Suki Roshi calls it the acceptance that you are perfect just as you are, and you could use a little improvement. Mindfully walking, we accept the walk as it is, even if there's noise, trash, or ugliness. Then we extend the acceptance to ourselves. There's no judging, there's only truth. I am walking just for now. That's all we need to know. From that solid foundation, instead of shifting opinions, our actions are more skillful. We take a step and ask, now, what seems to be the right thing to do next? The practice of non struggle. Walking with the ease of non-struggle is our practice. Effort is necessary in walking meditation, and at times so is struggle. Sometimes we have to wrestle our attention to obey. That's a productive or wise struggle. We're practicing letting go of struggle that is unproductive. Struggle with things we have no influence over, like the weather or other people's opinions, or our own moods and thoughts. Wisdom reveals to us that struggle with these things just creates suffering and expends energy fruitlessly. Our practice is to settle into a state of acceptance or non struggle with each mindful step. Find a place to walk and ask yourself if you are ready to let go of some things. To cue the letting go, scan the body before you walk and release as much unhelpful muscle tension as you can. This is often in the shoulders, arms, hands, and face. Since I am a trained dancer, I suggest before you walk, before you exercise, before and after, stretch. The stretching allows you to, release that tension. It allows you to focus that energy, especially on those really tight, tense places, those places that sometimes bring us pain. Stretch. Also, start your deep breathing. When you find yourself being mindful about things or thinking about things that are causing you discomfort, just take a deep breath. Breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. And when you breathe out, send that energy, send that breath to the parts of your body that need it. Start walking, noticing what's around and inside you. Acknowledge each sound, feeling, object, mood, thought, and urge. Then take your mental hands off it. No struggle. You might say to yourself, walk. And when you notice that something bothers you, say, hello, struggle. Focus mindfully on the annoyance and reactivity in you getting activated rather than the thing that you're struggling with. With each step, we reinforce awareness that it's the struggle reaction itself that creates misery. One of the things that I find as a bike rider is that people, and I probably do this not paying attention when I'm driving a car, but I notice it as a bike rider and it's making me mindful as a car driver. When people who are driving a car while I'm riding my bike don't stop before or at the stop sign, they stop after the stop sign in the crosswalk. That is so selfish because how does a pedestrian cross the street? How do people on bikes get across when your big car self is in the middle of the lane for us because you feel like your car is more important than the people who need to cross that path? So that's just one of the things, like, I try to when it happens, I have to be mindful, like, "Girl, you probably do the same thing because you don't be paying attention." But then when I get in my car, I think about it and I'm like, "Now, you need to do better. Since it bothers you when other people do that, you make sure you stop before the stop sign and look left and right to make sure there's no pedestrians and or bike riders that want to pass because you're going to be fine getting out. It's much more difficult for a pedestrian in a car to get through here. It's okay not to enjoy things that you experience, like the honking of car horns or a loud truck passing, but make a distinction. Not liking or not preferring is different from struggling. Walk and cultivate the discernment between simply not liking and struggling. Say to yourself, let go, let go, let go. And as you walk, notice how things come to disturb you. But in fact, it's usually our attention that goes out to engage the visitor, marching up to the noise as if to say, what gives you the right? Can't you see I need peace and quiet while I practice? When we surrender our struggle to control things that we can't, we stop fighting a no win battle and we emerge victorious. For the benefit of all, one of the most powerful gifts of mindful walking may come through our wish that others could benefit from what the practice has given us. As our practice progresses and the benefits take root, we naturally wish to share them with others. Rather than trying to transmit what we've learned directly, we can try the Buddhist practice of setting an intention that our mindful walking be for the benefit of all people. Setting an intention imbues our actions with purpose and brings us into our fuller alignment with what's important to us. In the attention that our practice benefits others, there is a shift from practicing for the small self, the part of us concerned only with ourselves, to practicing through the larger self, which is part of a greater web of connections. Connecting to something bigger enriches our lives. With the wish to share what's helped us, we ourselves are permeated with generosity and receive its benefits. It's a little like compounding interest. Our feeling of generosity feeds itself. This is the power of generosity. The giver benefits in part simply through the intention of being generous. If we find our practice brings us calm, patience, or good humor, we may pause for a moment before we walk. to set an intention that these qualities may radiate from us to anyone we meet. As we come to understand the causes and easing of suffering in our mind, in our mindful walking, in a humble way, we see that each bit of practice reduces the suffering in the world a tiny bit. In this and other ways, we multiply the benefits of practice. And through the dynamics of generosity, we ourselves may receive even more than we give. I call that a little bit like the butterfly effect. There's a real definition of it, but it's like the flutter. Like when you mindfully or intentionally are mindful about yourself, that radiates unto others. You can like when I ride my bike, and because I'm from the Midwest, because I'm from Detroit, we don't like to look at strangers. We don't like to acknowledge them. I mindfully do that now. If I see somebody, if I pass another biker, I look, I at least turn my head and I smile. That radiates. That smile could make somebody's day, right? I have no idea, but it could. And because of that, it could bring just a little bit of peace, less suffering, that a stranger smiled or acknowledged you, right? Like doing little things to make the world a better place. It adds up just like pennies. When people listen, my mother has this thing. It drives me crazy. But if I see it now, I do it because it reminds me of my mom. If my mama see coins on the sidewalk or the street, she'd be like, "Girl, if you don't pick that up, you do not let money just." I'd be like, "Girl, that's a penny." And she would be like, "Girl, pennies add up." And I'm like, "You are absolutely right. It takes 100 of them to make a dollar. And if you don't have one, you only have 99 cents." And so those little things, those little actions are like collecting coins, collecting pennies. Yep, learning a smile can go a long way. Those little actions, those little it's the flutter, it is the mindfulness of trying to care for others in some way, shape, or form that will permeate and resonate with them and bring them joy. All right, this is our last quote for this section. When happiness is liked by me and others equally, what is so special about me that I should strive after happiness only for myself? Shantadiva. So your happiness should be shared. Your joy should be shared. That is how you bring others joy. You don't need a confirmation of that joy. It is within you. You know your intentions. You know what you are trying to do. It is not your concern how others receive it. Be the best you that you can be. Touch somebody through a smile, through a text, through your content. Tell them you love them, that you care for them, and that you want the best for them. Be the best version of you. And know that what you put out, it's coming back to you. It's coming back for you. That energy goes somewhere. It is a self reflection of who you are. Be mindful of the energy that you release into this universe. That energy feeds off of like minded energy. That energy accumulates, it radiates, it will shine its light right back on you because you are the giver of the energy. Be mindful of it and make sure you walk and y'all hydrate. Hydrate. Let's elevate. Also, be mindful of the food you eat. We're going to get back into Edie's book on Friday. I'm still patting myself on the back. I don't have any Diet Pepsi in my home. You know, I'm addicted to it. I don't have any, and I haven't had any. I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for being here. If you are here live, tuning in, dropping in, I appreciate you. If you are here on the replay, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. I love you guys. Have a blessed Wednesday. Have a blessed day whenever you catch this replay. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, same time, same place. Bye, guys. I love you.